Hello. Notes for Geometry 1.2, titled Measuring and Constructing Segments. Our objectives this time will be to use length and midpoint of a segment, and also to construct midpoints and congruent segments. Next slide. The vocabulary you need to be familiar with: coordinate, distance, length, construction, between, congruent segments, midpoint, bisect, and segment bisector. Look at this next one. Example 1, finding the length of a segment. Find each length. Well, for A here, BC means the length from B to C. And you see that point C is at 3 and B is at 1. So we subtract the right from the left. So we go 3 minus 1, which is 2. My answer is 2. The length from B to C is 2. If I subtracted the other order and went 1 minus 3, I would just take the absolute value, because that's the absolute value of negative 2, which is 2. In other words, if it's negative, you always make it a positive answer, because length or distance cannot be a negative number. On the second one here, from A to C, I would go 3 minus a negative 2, which is really 3 plus 2, or 5. So the length from A to C would be 5 units. Let's try another one. Same thing, find each length, X to Y. I go from right to left, so Y is 5 and X is 1.5. So what's 5 minus 1.5? That would be 3.5. So that length from X to Y is 3.5. The next one over there, part B, X, Z. I would take X. From X to Z, I would go to the rightmost point first, to 1.5, and I would subtract the negative 3. Well, two negatives make a positive, so it's plus 3, and that would come out to be 4.5. So the length from X to Z is 4.5. Again, remember, your answers have to be positive whenever you're talking about length or distance. The next slide, some vocabulary here. Congruent segments. The term congruent in geometry just means it's equal. You can have equal length, or you can have equal angle measures. But here we're talking about equal length. It reads, congruent segments are segments that have the same length. Circle that phrase, same length. In the diagram, in other words, in the picture below, PQ equals RS. So you can write, look at this right here, with that symbol in the middle. See that equal sign with a little squiggly line above it? That's the symbol for congruent. This is read as segment PQ is congruent to segment RS. Another vocabulary word, tick marks. See these tick marks here on the lines below? Like, I'll circle that one and circle that one. Those little tick marks just show that they're congruent. And you'll see those on your book, or in your book, and on your test, and all this year. You'll see tick marks. Tick marks are used in a figure to show congruent segments. Next slide. In order for you to say that a point B is between 2 points, A and C, all 3 points must lie on the same line. So remember the word collinear. And AB plus BC is AC. Here it is. So if point B is between A and C, then the length from A to B plus the length from B to C must equal the whole length. Kind of intuitively obvious, but that is a postulate in geometry. Remember, a postulate is nothing more than a rule of geometry. It's just a rule that we don't try to prove. Next slide, I think it's on the back here, reads, using the segment addition postulate, G is between F and H. Let's draw that. Let's just draw that. G is between. I don't want that there. Let's put some points on this. Not necessarily drawing it to scale here. G is between F and H. Then it says FG is 6, so I'm going to put a 6 right there. FH is 11, so I'm going to put my 11 down here. So find GH, find the length of GH. We'll see if the whole thing is 11. This much is 6. My answer has to be 5. The answer is 5 because 6 and 5 add up to the 11. Let's do the same thing now, just with some algebra. Yes, this is why you have to take algebra before you take geometry. It reads, M is between N and O. Find NO. Find NO. Well, it has a diagram here for us. What you would do is you would write an equation. I would take this 17 and I would add it to 3x minus 5. Let's write that down. 17 plus 3x minus 5 would equal 5x plus 2. There's my algebraic equation. Let's now solve that for x. First thing I'm going to do is combine the 17 and the minus 5. That's 12. So 3x plus 12 is 5x plus 2. Then I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. This shouldn't be a big deal for you since you've already had algebra. Negative 2x plus 12 would equal, x that out, 2. Then I want to subtract 12. That gives me negative 2x would equal negative 10. And of course, I would divide by negative 2. You get an answer of, looks like positive 5. But that's not my final answer. This is going to happen a lot in geometry. Do not stop with the answer of 5. Because right here, I want to know what the length from N to O is. It's not the 5. I must take this 5 and plug it in. 5 times 5 plus 2, 25 plus 2 is 27. The length that I want is the 27. So again, that will happen a lot in geometry. Make sure you answer the entire problem. Let's try another one. E is between D and F. Find DF. Let's write my equation. 3x minus 1 plus 13 is 6x. If I combine like terms, 3x plus 12 is 6x. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 3x to the other side. That gives me 12 is 3x. Then divide by 3. I get x is 4, but don't stop there. I want to find this df. df is the 6x, so I take this answer of 4 and plug it in. So what's 6 times 4? That is 24. That would be my final answer. Let's keep moving. Midpoint. The midpoint M of line segment AB is the point that bisects or divides the segment into two congruent segments. In other words, it splits it exactly in half. If M is the midpoint of AB, then AM, so the left side, equals MB, the right side. So if AB is 6, let's draw this. From AB, if that's 6, and there's M, then this would have to be 3, and that would have to be 3, because 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's just my midpoint. Let's try a problem. D is the midpoint of line segment EF. ED is 4x plus 6, and DF is 7x minus 9. So what we do algebraically is we just say 4x plus 6 equals 7x minus 9. So if I solve this by subtracting 7x first, that's negative 3x plus 6 is negative 9. Then I subtract 6. I'm solving this equation here. Negative 3x is negative 15. Divide by negative 3. I'm running out of room. I get x is 5. But not my final answer. I need to find all three of those lengths. So I just plug it in. If I plug it into the first one, 4x plus 6, switch colors here. 4 times 5 plus 6, that's 26. So this length over here is 26. Do the next one, 7x minus 9, so 7 times 5 minus 9. That's also 26, and they will be equal because they're midpoint. It's a midpoint. Then the whole thing from E to F is nothing more than 26 plus 26, which is 52. So the whole thing is 52. So my three answers are 26, 52, and 26. Let's try another one. Last one. S is the midpoint of RT. RS is 2x, negative 2x. ST is negative 3x minus 2. Let's write my equation. Negative 2x equals negative 3x minus 2. Solve that. I would simply add 3x to both sides. That gives me 1x. It's negative 2. So if I start putting things in to the negative 2x, that's negative 2x times 2. So, oops, I need a negative there. So 2 negatives make a positive 4. The next one, if I put it in here, negative 3 times negative 2 minus 2, that is 6 minus 2. That's also 4. So my whole length would be 4 plus 4, which is 8. So my three answers they want are 4, 4, and 8. Okay, thanks for watching. Good luck.